Good morning, Jamie. How are you doing?
Yeah, morning, Jack. Really good, really good. Kid's back to school. Kid is back to school now, so a bit more of a regular routine in life, which is always good. Everyone wants some routine. It's not always the enemy, shall we say?
It's very true. More time to do work or training?
I'd probably say work, which is just more time to expand, doing lots of different things. We've got some cool things coming up with the blog for coaching elements. And then, yeah, just getting stuck into doing the class workouts, which I always shy away from sometimes, probably because I know how much I get exposed to it. So I've kind of made a bit of a commitment to myself to eat my own recipes, which is probably going to be worse than if I was just choosing around the bush.
It's good. I feel like when you're doing the classes, or at least some of the classes, you can chat to members a little bit more about it and how it felt, and it's, because they know you've done it, they're going to be like, oh, you've gone through this today, like I'm going through it as well. It just helps to build that community element just a little bit more as well, I think.
Yeah, especially when you're like, from my perspective, when a member sees me in the class, one, they want to see me suffer because I do dish it out quite a bit.
Yeah.
But there's that endearment factor. Like if I'm leading from the front and setting an example to the members, not necessarily, I'm not getting the best scores. I'm definitely not. So they enjoy kind of liking my score when it's not top of the leaderboard. And every now and again, if it's a power clean, I'll go top of the leaderboard, and they won't like it. They'll comment and say, oh, why didn't you do X? But yeah, it's that kind of leading from the front, and then when you ask them to go faster on something, and they know that you're living and breathing it at the same time, you're more likely to get a positive response, as opposed to well, I've just seen you do bench press over there and you didn't do any of the burpees kind of chat. So it's good. It's all good in the hood.
Good. So we're going to talk about the week of the 20th. This is the second week of this phase that we're in at the moment. Very briefly, remember a couple of the key focuses for this phase were improving row strength, so in particular the squats and the deadlifts. The other one was building gymnastic capacity as well. We're going to dive into them two a little bit more when we talk about this week. So going in on the Monday, you can see we've got 2 12-minute workouts with both with toes to bar in. So this has been written in a format where there's that interference. So we're building the gymnastic capacity, but there's interference in there as well. So if you can see on the first one, we've got the double unders and we've got the hang power snatch. So that's going to interfere with the grip. So how can you manage your grip so that you can still get efficient and effective toes to bar? And then the second one, we've got burpees. After accumulating a good amount of toes to bar in the first one, trying to do burpees, which is also a very similar movement to toes to bar. Again, it's going to be quite difficult with that direct interference. So it's going to be managing the other movements so that you still get that quality in on the reps and the toes to bar. Is there anything you want to add to that, Jamie?
Yeah, so kind of carrying on, if you notice, the weight goes from heavier to lighter, which is not always the most traditional fashion. Normally people will build through the weights, but this was, I think, first introduced into like a regional workout a long time ago, where it was snatches and burpees, and it was heavy to begin with, then it went light, so it increased the intensity. Also reduces the amount of opportunity to take a break. Obviously, we've increased the rep scheme on the lighter weight to move through. Like Jack said, it's that interference. So for your higher level members, it's about managing that fatigue and being able to hang on. For your newer members, it's about identifying and making people aware of how important that midline is, because a lot of people will disregard and they'll think the burpees will be fine, but obviously after the toes to bar, and like Jack said, the movement in terms of the hip flexion is very similar. So it's about managing that and highlighting to the newer members how important your midline is in most movements. So it's kind of 2 ways to skin it. You've obviously got the top level guys who are trying to push, and it's like, okay, how am I going to get through as many rounds? For those beginners, it's like, how am I going to break this up so I don't completely lose my quality of movement?
Agreed. Good stuff. Like you said, I think just making members aware that there's 24 minutes of working out there. Give them an idea of how many, reps of the toes bar that they're going to accumulate. And it's like, right, from there, stepping back, is it wise to go straight in with unbroken sets of 12, or does it make more sense to do sets of 6 or 7 and 5 from the start? So just that awareness of, the workouts as a whole. Just make sure you get that point across as well. Onto the Tuesday, our back squat progressions move along, don't they? This week we've got a 4 rep max.
Yeah, so we're kind of getting to that point where the fear starts to become real. So starting to get your head around the numbers. A lot of people will start to now, you can go one of two ways. They can start to shy away from the difficulty level, because sixes are their weights that can be kind of fluctuated quite a bit. What I mean by that is you could be 10 kilos off getting a 6 RM, whereas with a 4, it's a fairly obvious one when you get an easy 4 versus a 4 RM is rep number 1 is tough. And it's like, okay, take a breath at the top. It probably takes just as long as a 6 RM, as in you're waiting at the top. You're thinking, okay, am I going to get 3? Am I going to get 4? So big thing that I'll be saying to the classes is come with a plan, come with a number in mind. So when I did this last Monday, I was quite conservative on my 6, just getting myself back into squatting better in terms of pain free. And now I've got a goal in mind. So when I turn up for my 4, the goal for me is to be 10 kilos heavier, because I was a bit conservative on my 6. I won't be disappointed if I don't get it, but I'll have that number in mind as I'm going into the session. So that's a big one that I like to get our members to focus on, especially as it gets here, because more mistakes will happen as it gets heavier.
Yeah, I think just leading on from what you said there, I think a key point to get across is that every week you might not progress as much as what you think, or you might hit a similar weight to what you hit the week before. And obviously it's just being aware of, the other factors that affect training. So have you slept as well as what you did last week? Have you been a bit more stressed at work? Again, those are things that are going to impact training. And like I say, just making members aware of that, and that it's okay not to progress every week, even though it can be frustrating. Like let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at where you were when you first did your 5 sets of 5, and that probably felt pretty tough. And that 4 rep max is probably a lot heavier than what you did your 5 sets of 5 at 5-6 weeks ago. So yeah, again, that perspective and that bigger picture is really important. Then we've got a bit of a low skill send it workout after this.
Yeah, so notes wise, I kind of said, are you gonna like send your soul? It is one of those ones that you can really push the envelope on. 3-minute window, 90 seconds rest. That 90 seconds rest will come around pretty quick, and we've only got 3 sets of it. So the good news is you'll have some experience of like the burpee box jump from the Thursday before. So it will kind of still be a bit, what I would say, potentially raw, or they might still hate you as coaches kind of coming into this Tuesday. But then it will allow you to have the conversation on, well, last Thursday you were having a minute on your burpee box jumps, and this is how many you were doing. Okay, this time, how long are you going to have on your burpee box jumps? And then you can start to paint a picture of how many reps you should be challenging yourself for. So like calories on the machine are probably 40 to maybe 50 seconds. I would say if anyone's getting to a minute, they should possibly look at moving off of their machine. 18 swings, not stopping. And then it's head down, heels up on the box jump. Keep yourself moving, keep yourself going. It looks pretty tasty, that one. I'm not looking forward to that, if I'll be honest.
like you said last week as well, if burpee box jumps are going to take the intensity out of the workout for some people, let's just lower the skill there. So either decrease the height of the box, or for some members, it might just be burpees, just so they can really keep that intensity high there. Because that's stimulus wise, that's what we want to get out of that workout. Then on this Wednesday, we're progressing at our gymnastic accumulation. So how did it go in the class this first week, Jamie? Were people kind of shooting the beef and going out and doing too many reps, or I don't know, how did it go?
Yeah, I'd say the conversation at the whiteboard was about holding some people back and trying not to kind of do that, oh, how many are you going to do, because that's how many I'm going to try to do conversation. It's making it very individualized, and then also giving people an idea of how we're progressing. So we already mentioned in the video, we're going to go 6, 8, then we'll go 10 minutes, we possibly go to 12, or we'll drop back down to our 6, and then we'll look to add some more repetitions. So we want to play the long game. One of the things I emphasize is that in the long game, we'll probably be doing double the amount of reps as our first week. So we've got to bear in mind, do we have the hand tolerance, the grip tolerance, and also the skill level to keep it going? Pleasantly surprised, had a good class of 20 people in, which is quite a lot of people within the blitz space at midday yesterday. And 50% of the class were doing muscle ups. Me and Jack were talking about this just before we started, which like for me as a coach is like, whoa, love it. And we're kind of thinking back to where we were maybe 4 years ago out of our 7-8 years that we've been open. And there was a period where Ben and I were watching half the class do chin over the bar pull-ups, and we thought we had cracked it. And just remember, if you're a new gym, you might not get the whole class doing your muscle ups unless you're very, very lucky. So just remember to kind of be building, and then as a gym celebrate when you get those successes, because they're great things. That's what makes people coach, right? Getting people their first rep or seeing the gym progress in terms of fitness is quite a sight to behold. When I was watching, like 10 out of those 20 people were like all on top of the bar looking at me thinking, cool. yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. I know from speaking to Adam at RDHFC and a couple of the boys at Industry 13, like they've not been open, they've only opened in the past kind of year, 18 months, if not a little bit less. But I know quite a lot of their members are already kind of been getting muscle ups, which is, pretty cool to see from, gyms that haven't been open too long. But I think, giving the members the opportunity to actually to push themselves. And like I say, we've said before, if one member gets a muscle up, then someone else watches them and maybe like kind of picks up and thinks, oh, I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to try and do that. And then they do it as well. And like I say, it's that RBE effect, that Roger Bannister effect, where, one person does it, and then before you know it, there's another, 5, 10, however many people in your gym doing it as well. So again, it just raises the bar, which is, it's awesome to see. But you're only going to get that if you're going to take your members out of the comfort zones, which is really important. So then we've got Grace with a twist. What's the twist, Jamie?
So sometimes, I mean, CrossFit goes through its stages of when CrossFit was in its raw, like Rich Froning era, like when he was bashing everyone. He was talking about, let's do touch and go reps. Everyone's learning how to do touch and go reps. And then with the evolution of CrossFit, everything was getting heavier to the point where it actually wasn't of benefit to go touch and go. And it was like, okay, who's doing quick singles? Who's got like the noise cancelling plates that don't bounce? And now kind of coming around, and let's get the skill element of barbell cycling back. Obviously, it's traditionally done at super light weights. If we think back to like the dumbbell snatch, or even the open workout, which was 10 rounds of 8 grounds overhead, 10 bar facing burpees, touch and go and cycling the weights, super important. So we've got this 30 clean and jerks for time, but every time you break a set, you are rewarded, shall we say, not punished with more exercise. You're rewarded with 10 burpees over the bar. Hate punishing people with exercise. So the objective here is to get your members to use the correct weight. Whereas if it was, you could just do this in singles, you'd see a lot more people push the loading on and then lose the stimulus of a kind of 2 to 4 minute style workout, which is where Grace should sit. Put an 8-minute time cap on it because the burpees will take time. They'll take 30 seconds each time you go through. But it's an opportunity to kind of go for a high power output workout, but there is an element of skill involved. So when you're coaching it, obviously coach it from the bottom up, coach it from that power clean into that push jerk, but then talk about how important it is to bring the bar down in a straight line. You see those members who have a nice straight line on the way up and then a big loop on the way down. And when it touches the ground, it's about a foot away from you. that's going to make that second, third, fourth rep, and it all adds up in terms of into the lower back. Who's getting 20 plus reps? I think that's got to be get some of your coaches who think they can do Grace as quick as most. But that would be the target, is to try and shoot for something that's between that 15 to 20 rep mark. Quickly get your burpees, and then it's the person willing to pick it up and then hang on to that last set. If you're at 15 reps, you're possibly not going to get another 15, so you may have to do another set of burpees. But if you get close to that 20 mark, take a second before you pick it up and then hang on.
Yeah, I think a key thing on Grace there is going to be where you're going to take that second to just get your breath. Like, is it going to be overhead? Are you going to bring it down a little bit slower so you can catch your breath? Are you going to pause for a split second at the hip before you then go down to the floor? I feel like, making members aware of what's most efficient and how they can stay in better control of the barbell is going to be really key there. And obviously, if they will have to do burpees over the bar, pacing that a little bit. So obviously, if they do 15, clean and jerks and send the burpees straight after, they're going to pay for that on the second set. So it wants to be at a pace where, they're moving, they're recovering a little bit, but then obviously that second set, that heart rate is going to get jacked right up again. So yeah, say for example, for you, Jamie, if members were just, maybe they overcooked it a little bit and they thought, I'm going to give this a go at 60. They maybe did, I don't know, maybe 8 to 12 reps and then dropped it. Would you have a plan B there, or would you get them to kind of still keep going? What would you do there?
There's a couple of different scenarios that I would go through. Let's talk about I think all of you guys that are listening to this, you'll have a couple of members in mind. Let's talk about the member that's made the genuine mistake. As in, they very rarely get it wrong. You can see where I'm going with this conversation already. Yeah. So the first person they put on the weight thinking that they can get there. Hopefully within my warm up, I will have got them to do a couple of sets of kind of 4 to 6 unbroken, thinking I can do at least 3 times this amount. Obviously, we're not going to get them to do a set of 10 in a warm up. I think that would be just far too much. But a couple of sets of 4 to 6. With a smallish rest in between, where it kind of gets the grip going, it gets everything fired up, gets the lungs going, making sure people kind of understand where they sit with it. And if they genuinely made that mistake, I would probably get them to reduce their reps down. I'd probably get them to do maybe 20 clean and jerks. So if they got that 8 number, they'd probably get there in 3 sets. Yeah. Because that's ultimately what we wanted to get out of the stimulus. On the flip side, to play devil's advocate, you've got that member. I can picture him 9 times out of 10 who puts too much weight on, and he does it every time, and he always uses the time cap. They think that the working out to the time cap is the best way to get the most amount of fitness. Sometimes you need to crowd around that person at the end of it, and you let them learn the more difficult way, not the hard way, the more difficult way. So as long as they're safe and they're still moving with good movement integrity, sometimes people have to grin and bear it. I know from my perspective, I wasn't actually in a CrossFit gym until Blitz opened 8 years ago, and I'd been doing CrossFit 4 years. So our only real reference points were messing it up ourselves, and CrossFit.com never really had time caps. Yeah. So it was like, I remember the first time I did Fran, it took like 15 minutes. And it was the complete wrong intensity, and then you watch Chris Spieler do it and Josh Bridges do it where he's bouncing off the med ball, and you're like, oh, so that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how we learned how to scale. So yeah, there's kind of 2 ways to skin it. Obviously you want to have more of the first conversation about, okay, mistakes happen, we do it. Sometimes people have to learn the hard way, and that's maybe the only way they'll get through. If you always spoon feed them it's okay chat, they'll continue to do that. They'll continue to put the wrong weight on, and they won't learn. So it's short enough to not expose someone. It's not like a 20-minute workout where everyone's done in 15 and then there's 5 minutes of watching one person look at their barbell. So
yeah, good stuff. On the Thursday, we've got a bit of a variation of a workout that we know well. It's a legs for days variation.
Yeah.
These sorts of workouts are great for kind of keeping some good tension in the legs, making sure that we're just keeping on top of any imbalances. You put a bit of a twist on it, so there's a little bit of gymnastic work in there as well.
Yeah. So
go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to obviously get I think the wall walk is an exercise that is here to stay. So it's in this kind of workout, we've had it the last few weeks where it's been in quite a high intensity environment, i.e. we had the double unders and wall walks, which was a real kind of direct interference based workout. Whereas this one here is a good opportunity, if it's on an easier day, to practice the skill of the wall walk. So give my example of doing the wall walks, I probably had 3 out of my 6 rounds in the 7-minute workout that had good quality wall walks, as in had 4 hands in, 3 hands out, and I was able to kind of maintain that quality. And then the quality just started to drop, was taking more hands in, lost my midline. Whereas I'm looking forward to, when I do this workout, I'll slow the edge, I may break the kip swings up into a couple of sets of 10, and then focus on getting the quality and getting that movement pattern dialed in. Because I think the wall walk is one of those ones that once you get it ingrained as a pattern, it's a bit like handstand walking. You can kind of do it even when you're absolutely shot. You don't necessarily need to be that strong. You just need to have the mechanics of it. So that's why I wanted to put it in a different environment, and also building people's confidence on it. I'm not worried about going upside down or falling over enough times kind of playing sport, whereas building confidence for some of your members, you want to kind of make sure they're regularly touching things that take them out of their comfort zone, and getting upside down is one of those huge things.
Yeah. And you know what? I still feel like it's a movement yet that some people are a bit like, they still poo-poo it a little bit. But a great example up our way the other day was at the end of his session, Reece just did an EMOM of some wall walks just to practice on the quality of them. Just did 3 reps. And like I say, it's just that practice of quality movement at that lower intensity that's going to pay off, because he's got more confidence about it. He's got more capacity. You know, he's refining the movement as a skill more. Like, he's just going to, you know, do it better when it's going to come up in the open again. We just know it is. So definitely a skill we need to be not poo-pooing, that's for sure.
Yeah, agree.
Cool. We've got a benchmark workout in on the Friday. We did this a couple of months back, actually, didn't we? At the end of, was it during or at the end of our pressing phase? I think it was during our pressing phase, wasn't it? It'd be interesting to see, actually. So obviously we've not had the same volume of pressing now, so people's shoulders and triceps probably will have had more chance to recover now. Probably handstand push-ups are going to feel hopefully a bit even better for people there. And obviously we've been working on deadlift strength. So what was the idea of putting Diane in for this week?
I think you've kind of read between the lines there. So we put Diane in initially where we saw an improvement in our upper body pressing strength. So we were hoping that we kind of left the deadlift as is, and we saw people get some benchmarks and some times, and they were compared to previous times down the road where people weren't on the plan and people were going faster because they were able to do bigger unbroken sets on a handstand push-up. Whereas now we've kind of made a bit more of a focus we've come off the back end of some pressing work. So that's going to stay in the system. It's not like we're losing any of it, but we've started to touch on the no-touch deadlifts, and now into the regular deadlift format. So people's confidence with the hinge pattern and then building the strength in the volumes that we've been working on will mean that this deadlift might be a bigger set than where they've done previously. In terms of the workout itself, any 21, 15, 9, if you're at the top level of any kind of CrossFit, it's an unbroken business. It's set your bar up nice and close to the wall. There's a crazy video of Dan Bailey doing it in like 90 seconds or something from a regionals in like 2013 or something like 2012. But realistically for our members, if you can go unbroken, fantastic. It's that round of 15 on either the deadlifts and the handstand push-ups that kind of make or break a 3 to 5 minute Diane. It's like 3 minutes if it's as close to unbroken. It's 5 minutes if that round of 15 becomes maybe 3 sets of 5 or 6 of 5 or 4. But yeah, good test overall. It's a standalone thing, so we've got some accessory work after. So we should become fairly primed from the day before. Tension in the legs, shoulders should feel like they're ready to kind of go. And then you can hit the doors off. It's been a bit of a theme, the benchmark Friday, kind of using that Friday as a good way to kind of come off of a rest day, and it kind of sets you up for the weekend, because a lot of people like repeating workouts and getting better at them.
I think another good thing to do for some members for this is, see if some can remember roughly how they did Diane last time, and it's like, right, what do you want to get out of it today? So for some members, it could be, let's try and repeat the workout almost exactly as you did last time on the handstand push-ups, but let's see if you can push the deadlifts more and see how it goes there. Or did Diane not go quite to plan last time, even though handstand push-ups felt better? Like, let's come up with a slightly different plan for you this time and see if you can go faster that way. So yeah, just putting across a few different ways of hitting the workouts and reflecting on how it went last time if they did it, so they can make a bit of a plan going into the workout. And if they are going into the workout with a plan, emphasize the point of keeping to it as best they can, so that, again, going forward after that, it can be, next time they do Diane, like, let's remember this is how you did it. You can change it for next time, or keep it the same, or whatever else. So yeah, going into the workout with the plan is going to be key for that one. On the Saturday, we repeat an open complex that we had this year. Obviously, we've made some good squat gains already. We've not quite got to the stage where we're working on weightlifting, but it will be interesting to see where we're at, and if we can PB this complex from what we did during the open, if we did do it. So that'll be quite a good kind of test to see where we're at before we go more into the weightlifting focus towards the end of this phase, and then in the next phase as well. Anything you want to add to that complex, Jamie? Anything specific?
I think a lot of people will get closer to maybe a PB. Obviously, it comes at the start of the session, whereas this was a post-open workout with obviously I think it was a 15-minute time cap. And most regular gym members maybe didn't finish the workout, so they were like, we're rolling straight into how we kind of get on to. But yeah, good opportunity to kind of practice. Are you cleaning in terms of in a squat, or are you power cleaning it? Do you have confidence in your legs to be able to then do that and then maintain that jerk? Lots of different things to kind of set yourself around. Again, it could be one of those workouts that's repeated. You never know how the open kind of pans around. So this complex has been used quite a lot. I know it was used at some competitions recently as well. So it's a good way to reference amongst your friends. And sometimes, I mean, the open's a great chance to kind of compare to your friend who goes to the other CrossFit gym and you're doing the same workout. Yeah. See, there's good reference points there.
There is with Euro champs as well. It was the same complex the other weekend, wasn't it? So again, for maybe your more competitive members, it could be a good chance to see where they're at, how things are progressing, if they maybe should be aiming for the intermediate category, or pushing towards that, RX or elite category. I can't remember what categories they are, but you get the gist anyway. So yeah, definitely a good opportunity for that as well. Then we've got a bit of chunky white ball workout. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the big thing that stands out is you get punched straight in the face in round number 1, right? The 15-minute AMRAP, 60 squat cleans as a pair. I'd probably say if I was doing this with someone of similar ability to me, maybe open up. The first thought is, right, let's do singles. let's just go, you go, I go singles. But what I would suggest with that is that the rest period that you earn or gain from doing singles is minimal. So the fatigue is starting to build, and it's not going to clear. And then all of a sudden we go into the burpees, and then you've got a different type of fatigue where people are doing slightly bigger sets. So my suggestion is trying to choose a weight that you can maybe do some touch and go squat cleans with in the first round, because then it's going to build that work to rest ratio slightly more in your favor. Obviously make sure it's even with your partner, and then it means the stimulus remains very similar across the whole of the first round. So the work to rest, the burpees might be in 5s, the pull-ups will probably be in 8s to 12s before you switch, unless you've got some ninjas out there who are kind of doing 15s to 20s. And then again, the shoulder to overheads are going to be done in multiple reps rather than dropping it each time. So rather than kind of jacking up that heart rate early doors, hang on to the weight. That means that a lot of people will scale the workout correctly also. So yeah, it looks very, very chunky and the name is very there.
So I wrote this workout initially, and obviously I was writing it as for individuals. And again, similar to what you said, like how I'd attack this workout initially, I'd go out in touch and go sets and just see how far I can get with doing some, moderate sets. Like I don't want to push it to red line, but it should feel like a moderate kind of set to start off with. And I'd keep that for, I don't know, maybe up until halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way. And then if needed, I'd drop to singles. And I feel like I'd do something similar if I was actually in a pair as well. Like I'd see, how far can we get on this first set of 60 squat cleans doing touch and go. And it could be, last 10 before you get into the burpees, you do singles each so that your heart rate comes down that little bit maybe. And then you can take the workout from there. And like you said, we're looking for 8 to 12 reps on the pull-ups, maybe a little bit bigger for your ninjas. And on the shoulder to overhead, it wants to be definitely in that 5 to 10 rep range that we want to be knocking them out. Ideally towards them, maybe 10 reps rather than 5. But yeah, those were my thoughts. It was all about them squat cleans. When I initially wrote this, I was like, yeah, the big one's going to be how you do the squat cleans, because you're going to get back to them as well. So it's like you're going to need to have some in the tank for that round 2 when you get back to it. So yeah, so there you go. Finishing things up on the Sunday, bit of imbalance work in there, bit of a threshold workout with some good amount of core in there as well. Do you want to just go through thoughts for that workout in particular, Jamie?
Yeah, so if we're playing the long game here, so we've got, I would say it's a fairly simple workout: 20 Russian swings, 20 single leg V-ups, so midline and posterior chain, kind of to the point where it's plenty of activation. You've got a rest period. If we kind of give you a sneak peek, the next day, the Monday, is some deadlifts. So what we've got here kind of coming through is a great primer for the following day. A lot of people kind of have this conversation a lot with members about, okay, I'm going to go for like a big lift, or I'm going to do a competition. Shall I rest the day before? Actually doing something and getting the body moving and getting some tension in the legs and in the back and in the midline is more beneficial. It means you roll into the day feeling a little bit better. We've probably all had that situation where Monday morning session is horrifically a drag. Everything feels slow and lethargic because Sunday's spent lazing around and chilling out. So and normally the Tuesday session's a big one, and you start to build up from there. We're trying to alleviate that. So if your members are coming in quite regularly, this will kind of hopefully get ourselves ready. But nice little posterior chain mover. We haven't put a prescribed weight on it, but it's something that we can kind of go unbroken throughout near enough. If you had to break it into two sets of 10, I probably wouldn't worry about it too much, as long as you pick it up within 5 seconds to get yourself back moving again.
I think another good thing to bear in mind. So obviously we've got deadlifts on the Friday. We've got a deadlift in the complex on the Saturday. People that have come to those 2 sessions, they're probably not going to come in for that Sunday session. But people that are coming in for that Sunday session probably may have only just got, maybe Diane in like the 2 days before, or maybe just did the Saturday workout because they couldn't get in on the Friday. And like Jamie said, it's if they've been in on the Friday and the Saturday, they should be probably taking that Sunday off, hitting some mobility work if the hips are feeling a little bit tight from the past couple of days in preparation for the Monday. But if people have missed, the past couple of days before that, because they've not been able to get in all week because they've had a busy week, we want them to get a bit of tension in the posterior chain before we then hit the deadlifts the next day, like Jamie said. Again, to give you another example, so back in the day when me and Steve used to, have a big Friday, we used to do some primer work the day before. We'd do Russian swings and we'd do something like high box jumps just to keep the CMS primed. And like I say, just to keep that tension, we just found we could keep a position in the pull better, when we're snatching and clean and jerking. So similar thing for members. So just keeping that bit of tension if they've missed a couple of days, and then hitting the deadlifts on the Monday is just going to help them, put them in better stead. If they have trained the past couple of days, take the Sunday off, make sure you're stretching off the glutes and hip flexors ready for, the deadlifts on Monday if they have attacked them a couple of days before. Again, it's just tailoring the program a little bit to the individual member, because like I say, this is a general program, but it can be tailored to people, and I think that's having that as a skill and being able to do that is, it's really important to be able to do it. Anything else you want to add on that week, Jamie?
No, just echoing it. Yeah, pick your battles. Obviously, when I'm looking at that, I probably wouldn't train on a Sunday anyway in respect to coming in and doing a class. But I certainly would be doing like the Monday through Saturday. And then I'd have to pick my battles, like, do I go hard on a Diane, or do I try to get a little bit heavier than what I did in that open workout before, knowing that if it's in a partner workout and I pair up with a member, which I like to do, and I maybe feel in control of the pace, knowing how I feel. So there's a good example this week where after we did the back squats, there was running and wall balls. I knew I wanted to do a little bit of running or conditioning in the afternoon just to kind of tide me over. So I just didn't go as hard in the workout. So it's having that conversation with members to kind of let them know that it is okay every now and again if you understand the undulation of a training week, not try and hit it hard every day.
Yeah, agreed. That's good. And I think another good point to kind of add, just on the side of kind of recovery, mobility, maintenance work, that sort of stuff, is that your members should know, like, if somewhere feels particularly tight, like they should know to do either like a pigeon stretch on the box, or if the adductors feel tight, like having the awareness of, why they're doing that stretch and what it does to keep injuries at bay and those sorts of things. Like, that's important kind of education for your members to have, because it could be, for example, after doing the pulling the past couple of days, like the hips might feel, really tight, and then obviously going into the back squats on the Wednesday the week after, like they might be struggling to get in that bottom position. But doing that little bit of mobility work, at home, or in addition to what you've given them as a coach, either before or after the classes, again, just kind of important to educate your members on that side of things as well. All good?
Very good.
Cool. Right. Anything else you want to add?
No. Good. Have a good week.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's wrap things up there. We will catch you all next week. We are also looking at getting a call set up very soon, a Zoom call between, all those guys, all you from different gyms, us coaches, just so we can have, conversations about, best practices going forward, what's going well, what's not going so well, what you want more of, what you're want less of, all that sort of stuff, just so we can, you know, again, make any adjustments we feel like we need to. Are we going in the right direction? Are things going well? Just, yeah. And just to meet you guys more as well. Because I feel like if you know us better as coaches, obviously you're then going to have feel a bit more invested in what we're trying to create and how, and helping you as well to become either better coaches or move forward as a gym. So yeah, we'll get that sorted as soon as we can. Grand. Right. Catch you soon, Jamie.
Speak to you later.
Bye.